Hello millionaires of the Lithuania, because only you can afford a luxury toy like this. Today in my hands is the nvidia RTX 5080 from MSI, and you will probably get a deja vu feeling because once again you are looking at the cheapest version of the card called Ventus X3. If I placed it next to the 5070 Ti I already had, you would barely notice if I was even holding a different card. This time there won't be any fancy editing, because just like a Lamborghini, this piece of tech doesn't need an expensive advertising. So in today's episode, let's see what one of the Nvidia's most powerful cards can really do and compare it against the space heater from AMD. This graphics card review is brought to you by the best computer hardware store in Lithuania called Kilobytes. This specialist will gladly help you trade your cash for a powerful PC so you can keep playing Fortnite or Minecraft at full speed. So let's install our graphics card into the PC, and once again we are greeted by Nvidia's beloved and perfect power connector. This time adapter for it demands 3 traditional PCI plugs while 5070 Ti only required 2. That's strange because card actually consumes only slightly more power than the previously tested model. On the screen you can see specifications of the test system, but first let me say that this review is for true enthusiasts. The kind of people who tune not only their BMWs but also their PCs. To avoid repeating same results as with the 5070 Ti, all the games on the 5080 we tested at maximum overclock I managed to squeeze out of it, pushing the card into the RTX 4090 territory. Without further talk, get comfortable, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and let's begin with those overclocking results. Our first side hustle game, the freshly updated GTA 5, running at maximum ray tracing settings. And while we are all desperately waiting for GTA 6, sadly we will be stuck suffering for a while. On the screen you can see stock versus maximum overclock results, where we managed to squeeze out roughly 12% performance boost. It's also worth noting that recording with shadow play eats up about 3% of the frames. You can undervolt this card as well, though it's already fairly efficient, but that's a story for another day. We have already figured out what overclocked 5080 can deliver, so let's move on to the next game, the fan favorite western called Red Dead Redemption 2. And since we don't take the easy road, in the Nvidia app we switch the DLSS to the version 4 with the latest algorithm model, and we applied the same settings across all games tested today. As you can see, the game looks fantastic and runs smoothly even at the very highest settings, so it's safe to bet that when GTA 6 finally arrives, it will run just as well. Next on the list, another Wild West themed game, only this time with zombies, Hunt 1896, running on the CryEngine. If you haven't heard of this title before, I definitely recommend giving it a try. The player base isn't as massive as Counter-Strike or GTA 5, but if you enjoy hardcore extraction and survival games, this one will be right for your taste. And as we can see, at maximum settings with updated DLSS, it both runs and looks great. The next game on the list is also powered by CryEngine, but this time we are heading into the Middle Ages with the game called Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. If in real life you are just couch knight, here you can finally become a true warrior fighting on the battlefield. It's very demanding decision-based roleplay game, but our beastly card manages to pull this medieval simulator quite well on the so-called experimental, or in other words, maximum settings. Now let's look at something a bit more modern, game called Stalker 2. We keep returning to this Ukrainian apocalyptic masterpiece because who knows, maybe one day we will be seeing a view like this out of our own windows. Although the game runs on extremely unoptimized Unreal Engine, with a card like this, even such a beast runs at maximum settings pretty well, especially with the frame generation and the updated DLSS. Next on our list is the complete opposite of the previous game, the Harry Potter simulator called Hogwarts Legacy. We are still dealing with the same but older Unreal Engine 4, but this time we can really spoil ourselves. We will enable all of the nvidia's bells and whistles, including quadruple frame generation. Sure, it might look a bit questionable, but the sheer number of the frames on the screen is genuinely impressive. Moving away from that cursed engine, let's see how the 5080 handles a game without any ray tracing or other nvidia gimmicks. Helldivers 2 manages to look stunning all on its own. The optimization here is amazing. No bugs this time, but on one of the planets, robots will happily turn you into the meat sausage. And yes, all of this at native 4K maximum settings.
Now that's what I call liberty. Found something.
I still haven't bought Alan Wake 2, but Mondays at work are nightmare enough. The game control will remind you of that office horror, but the 5080 struggles a bit here. We used maximum ray tracing settings, and even with DLSS it didn't help much. In some spots the frame rate can drop to around 30 FPS. Unfortunately the game doesn't support frame generation, so no magical assistance this time. We have already covered the performance of the main games, so now let's return to what I promised at the start of this review. We will compare the RTX 5080 with my old 7900 XTX, both at maximum overclock. The first news on our list, yet another Unreal Engine game called Borderlands 4. Its CEO said that we should code our own engine and stop crying about optimization. So I did a bit of modding, so now FSR 4 works even on older AMD cards, and the quality is very similar to DLSS. However, in this game the nvidia card is roughly 20% stronger than the old AMD brick. The next new title in our test, the zombie smashing simulator, Dying Light the Beast. Game doesn't have ray tracing yet, but it still looks fantastic. In this scenario, the RTX 5080 really shines, giving us nearly 35% higher FPS than the AMD card, while using about the same reduction in power. By the way, the FSR 4 mod was also applied for the old AMD flagship. And finally, the game I eventually picked up for $20 on Steam, called Cyberpunk 2077. This time we enabled path tracing, which even makes some nvidia cards struggle. I also bothered to mod the upscaler so the old AMD card could use FSR 4. And what we see is a sad slaughter for the red team. Nearly half the frame rate, and let's not forget that on the nvidia card you can still enable quadruple frame generation. And now we can get to the conclusion. Who is the RTX 5080 really for? Although I mentioned in the 5070 Ti review that the more expensive model might not be worth its money, I may have been wrong. There are enthusiasts who don't mind pushing the hardware, and in this regard the 5080 not only delivered but also surprised. GPU got speeds close to the 4090, and even at maximum overclock the card consumed significantly less power than the previous generation's top model. The only downside is that it could have used a bit more VRAM, although the 16GB was enough for all tested games today. So, since this card ranks just behind 5090 and 4090, and nvidia prices have dropped, if you are ready to tinker and overclock, the MSI RTX 5080 is a pretty solid option for the enthusiast like you. Thanks for your attention, don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next one.